Okay, this video is late, but here we are anyways. This past Saturday at November the 12th at UFC 281, Alex Pereira, as John Anik says, was crowned the new middleweight champion after knocking out Adesanya in the 5th round in the closing minutes of the fight. New middleweight champion. Many thought it wouldn't be possible. A lot of people thought exactly what was gonna happen, what happened, and it happened. So you could say like, oh yeah, Izzy was up 3 rounds to 1. He was on his way to win that decision, which, I mean, realistically he was, but realistically, Pereira is the champion also. So, with a new middleweight champion after Izzy's 6-7 title defenses, being completely unmatched at middleweight, just tearing through the division, lapping the division entirely. Pereira, who was ranked, he entered the rankings not even a few months ago, was just being crowned the new middleweight champion. First guy to beat Adesanya in the middleweight division in the UFC. And what happens now? Well, since it was such a late stoppage... Hold on, let me close my door real quick. Hold up. Alright, since it was such a late stoppage, a lot of people... there's been a debate online. Should Izzy get that immediate rematch or not? You know, Izzy been tearing through the division for so long, and he just barely managed to lose. So it's been a common, or at least it was, when this was kind of more relevant, it was a common discussion like who or if Adesanya deserves that immediate rematch. If we look, this one said, do you want to see an immediate rematch? I put yeah, because I thought it would be kind of interesting at the time. Obviously, it's very split. So there's that. I got another poll here. Should the UFC book an immediate rematch, technically a 4th fight? In the UFC, think about it. UFC 281 was labeled Adesanya versus Pereira. So why was UFC 277 labeled Nunes versus Pena 2? Right? If Adesanya and Pereira have already fought twice, and this was their 3rd fight. Well, they fought twice in kickboxing and in a different promotion that wasn't the UFC. So by UFC and MMA terms, this is technically their 1st fight. This is the first of the possible saga. So it's not Pereira Alex 3, even though it technically is. And in the history books, it will be labeled really as officially as Adesanya Pereira 1. If they were to have an immediate rematch, it would be labeled UFC Adesanya versus Pereira 2. However, it would technically be Adesanya Pereira 4. And Pereira being 3-0 in that trilogy, that could be a quadrilogy, that's what's really starting this debate. Now, should the UFC book an immediate rematch? I'll put yes to see the results. And look, it seems to be an astounding answer for yes here on the All Things MMA poll. There were a lot of other polls I saw, but I just can't manage to find them right now. Let's look at the opinions online. As a champion, he deserves an immediate rematch. Does he deserve an immediate rematch? Of course he does. After being dominated in the division for 3 years, titles, he deserves an immediate rematch. Then DC says Izzy gets that rematch. And now here we go, the other side. Everyone wants an immediate rematch, but Alex is 3-0 against Izzy. Multiple sports now. Maybe let Whitaker take a shot, which is an interesting opinion. But you'll soon see that a lot of people share the same opinion. So you see here people saying, yeah, Izzy does deserve it. That is Romero, Whitaker, Costa, but he does deserve a rematch. Adesanya has not been able to beat Alex in 3 different occasions, so no immediate rematch for him. Let's keep looking. Where does it specify that Nunes lost in very similar fashion, and she she got an immediate rematch. Going to Usman, so did DJ. This guy's take is just abysmal. Should they have an immediate rematch? The champs always deserve an immediate rematch. If Pereira Adesanya in the way he did Strickland, then yes, no immediate rematch. However, Adesanya was winning the fight, so it should be immediate rematch. Arguing the second best middleweight, immediate rematch. Immediate rematch as soon as possible. Adesanya does not deserve immediate rematch. Split for against. He deserves it. No immediate rematch. Sean Strickland said he does not deserve the rematch. Deserves. A lot of deserves. Seems like the internet is mostly leaning to deserving immediate rematch. But there's also quite a few people that do not want to see it, which makes sense. That would be a fourth fight after Izzy is 0-3 in that trilogy. Who realistically, there's not many people who would want to see that anymore. However, do I think Izzy should get that immediate rematch? We'll discuss it at the end of this video. Right now, this video is about what is next for the middleweight division. Who's going to get this belt next? What's going to happen next? When is his defense? What's going to happen? So, we have Pereira as the champion. And we have, so here is Pereira, new champion. These are the new rankings. Adesanya is the number 1 contender. Robert Whittaker is number 2 contender. Jared Cannonier number 3. Vittori 4. Brunson 5. And Paulo Costa is the 6th ranked contender. We're only going to look at the top 6 for this video. And I think that's not controversial to do that, because number 7 is Sean Strickland, which Alex Pereira knocked out in July in the first round. So we're not going to discuss Strickland or Hermanson, who Strickland beat. We're not going to talk about Darren Till or Gastelum, people who have not been on it so far. My bad. We're not going to talk about Muniz or Imavov, who have not gotten their really big jump start yet and are top 10 or below. We're not going to talk about the newer guys to the rankings like Duplessis and Chris Curtis. We're not going to talk about any of them. Right now, we're here to focus on the top 6 because those are most likely to challenge for the middleweight title. And who realistically would? Let's start from the bottom to the top. Paulo Costa, the eraser, 14-2 in the middleweight division. He's coming off of a win against Luke Rockhold, this unanimous decision. Before that, he had 2 prior losses to Adesanya and Vittori, the number 1 and number 3 contenders right now. Only one of them was to knockout, and before this, he was undefeated. He beat Romero. He knocked out Johnny Hendricks and Uriah Hall. He went up against a bunch of other guys, actually a few other guys in the UFC. But professionally, a bunch of other guys. That's Paulo Costa. And you may have heard of this. You may have not heard of this. There's something interesting about Paulo Costa's record and opponents that have been going around. And it's hard not to think about how to look. McClellan. I'm going to butcher that name. I'm sorry. Johnny Hendricks, Uriah Hall, Romero, Rockhold. Those are all guys that Costa's beaten in the UFC. And thinking about it now, this was brought to my attention maybe a week ago. Paulo Costa does not have a single win against anybody currently on the UFC roster. That blew my mind because I genuinely did not know that, and I probably should have, but I just never really thought about it, and I don't think a lot of other people have ever thought about it either. And if this is your first time bringing about to your attention, then yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Johnny Hendricks retired in 2019. Uriah Hall retired a few months ago. Romero retired a few years ago. And Rockhold retired in August. And now he's scheduled to fight Whittaker. So, for a guy that's never beat that, well, no, of course he has. For a guy that doesn't have any wins over anyone currently on the UFC roster, it's pretty big to make him jump to former champion Robert Whittaker. I think that's pretty crazy. It's a big jump, but Paulo has balls for doing that. I think, personally, I think he wants to kind of erase this narrative that exists about that, he doesn't have a win against anybody on the roster right now. He wants to prove a lot of people wrong. He wants to show his worth. Obviously, Paulo Costa is a good fighter, but unfortunately, he's fought a lot of the best fighters before they left the division and the promotion. Unfortunately, a lot of the guys have left. So, and it is what it is. He's fighting Whitaker now, so you got to give him props for that. He's fought Vettori. He's fought Adesanya. He's fought for the title before. Paulo Costa, while a legitimate contender, this fight with Whitaker is happening in Perth, Australia in February. And if these guys do get pretty banged up in that fight, it is unlikely that they'll fight for the next title, which is rumored or projected or expected to be somewhere in the summer of 2023. It might happen. It might not. It's not a whole lot of time. It really just depends on when the title fight gets scheduled. But personally, and I think a lot of people can agree with me, I don't think that Paulo Costa, number 6 ranked contender, will be fighting for that title. Now, moving on to number 5, Derek Brunson. Is that North Carolina tatted on him? That's pretty cool, actually. Derek Brunson, the one, number 5. He's 23-8. Let's look at his past wins. Yeah. So we look here. He's got some pretty decent wins. The Till win isn't too bad. The Kevin Holland win isn't too bad either. The Shabazian win is pretty impressive. I don't know who this guy is. I apologize. Hold up. My computer just froze. Yeah, Heinisk. I don't really know who that is. That's my bad. Computer completely froze. Okay. Elias Theodoru, rest in peace. He was a good fighter. Derek Brunson, Adesanya. He was able to knock out Lyoto Machida. And he lost to Robert Whitaker. But then again, a lot of people have lost to Robert Whitaker. My computer just froze again. Anderson Silva beat him in that decision, but a lot of people thought it was controversial, so there's that. But a lot of back and forth wins and losses. Of course, there's that the Adesanya loss, the Jacare loss, and of course the Anderson Silva loss, which is controversial, the Whitaker loss. But these were a while ago. It's 2016. That's a while ago. I mean, my computer just froze again, but realistically, that is a long, long time ago. And now he's scheduled to fight Jack Hermanson on that UFC Orlando card, which I will be going to in person. I'm very excited for that card. The poster looks incredible. I'll talk about it all in the future, in the near future. But number 5, Derek Brunson. There's an elephant. There's a big elephant in the room here. And there's really just like one huge main driving force that is not putting him in contention for this title next. That is the knockout loss to Jared Cannonier. It happened UFC 271. We just had 281. It was UFC 271 in February of this year. I think it was like February 21st of this year, or maybe another day. It was on the Adesanya Whitaker 2 undercard. So obviously there was that knockout loss, big setback. He was doing pretty decent before he got knocked out to those vicious elbows, and it is unfortunate, but it is what it is. He is making his way back with where he's trying to get a win against Jack Hermanson. So there's that. And realistically, I think 99% of people can agree with me. Derek Brunson is not fighting for that title in 2023. It's just not happening. We're moving on to the number 4 ranked contender, the Italian wet dream, Marvin Vettori. 18-6-1. 2 wins by knockout. That's crazy. 9 wins by submission, though. 11 first round finishes. So all his finishes Every single finish he's gotten by way of the first round. That's pretty impressive. It's such an odd record, isn't it? For an odd guy like Vettori, but I mean, but Marvin Vettori is going to be Marvin Vettori. But yeah, we'll start here from the Adesanya loss. He got a lot of wins here. He got a win against Jack Hermanson. This was 2020. It's recent. He got a win against Jack Hermanson. This was, I think it was it 263, the Adesanya loss for the title. And this is his first fight in the UFC against a guy named Pereira. It's pretty crazy. He beat Jack Hermanson. He beat Kevin Holland. Oh no, this is the 263. My bad. This is the rematch. 263 Adesanya Vettori 2. He beat Paulo Costa, and then of course he lost a very one-sided decision to Robert Whittaker in UFC Fight Night in Paris on September. This was very recent, 2 months ago, a little bit over 2 months ago, maybe 2 months and a half ago, 2.5 months ago. I said that way too much. My bad. Marvin Vettori coming off of a loss to Robert Whittaker, who's also fighting Paulo Costa in Perth, Australia. My bad, my brain kind of froze up. Yeah, coming off of a loss, even though it's not really that bad of a loss, it proves that there are contenders ahead of Vettori who should be fighting for that title instead, which makes the Vettori title question kind of dead as of or in the near future, like for the next title fight for middleweight. And of course, he already has a title loss, so it's going to be a little bit even harder to get that fight, especially since it was more recent. So realistically, Vettori will not be getting the next title shot. Maybe the one after. There's always a chance that he comes back. You know, he was top 3, but he is top 5. He's one of the best middleweights on the planet right now for a reason. And he just had a fight very recently, so I don't know when we're gonna see him back. But whenever we do, Vettori's definitely gonna look to try to prove himself for that title contention once again. But as of right now, he will not be fighting for that title next. Jared Cannonier, the Killer Gorilla, number 3 middleweight division right now. 15-6, 10 wins by knockout, 2 wins by submission, 7 first-round finishes. This guy has gone from heavyweight to light heavyweight to middleweight. I mean, he is so powerful. He's knocked out so many top guys, top-level guys. He's got a bunch of very impressive wins over a bunch of very impressive opponents. These were his light heavyweight wins. We're not going to really count these. We're going to look into his middleweight fights. He got first-round knockout against Anderson Silva. He knocked Jack Hermanson out in the second round of their fight. Lost a decision to Whittaker. Again, it's not uncommon. He beat Gastelum. He knocked out Derek Brunson. And, of course, the elephant in the room, the loss he's coming off of, was a title fight. Before 281, it was Adesanya's most recent title fight, most recent title defense. Very dominant, unanimous decision win for Adesanya. That is one of the main reasons why Jared Cannonier will not fight for the title next. Obviously, another factor is that he will be fighting Sean Strickland for what? It's just the main event of a UFC Fight Night. December 17th, it was going to happen, I think, in December or November. It got pushed back. So right now, Cannonier really has his sights focused on Sean Strickland and probably not too much on Pereira or Adesanya or Whittaker or whoever. Right now, he has been focusing on this fight for many months, and it's as of yesterday, in exactly a month, but a month and one day, this fight's gonna be happening. It's around the time I take like midterms, so I probably won't. Or it's on a Saturday. If it's on a Saturday after the midterms, right before winter break or right when winter break starts, and I'll watch it. But it's not about that. Cannonier is gonna be fighting in December. If he doesn't get banged up too badly, he might be able to have another fight. But realistically, he will not be fighting for that title next. I don't think. His wins are not super consistent, which is okay. 2 wins in 2019, 1 win in 2020, 1 win in 2021. Obviously, bro's going for 3 fights in 2022, which is very impressive. I admire his will to fight now, and I know he wants to fight because, I mean, you've all seen the interview, but realistically, this guy's not going to be fighting for that title next. Of course, we move on to number 2 contender, the Reaper, Robert Whittaker. 25-6, 10 wins by knockout, and 15 by submission. He is one of the best middleweights currently walking on planet Earth. I mean, you guys saw it in the other guys' what is that, records, and most of those opponents ended up in the losing column. We'll just start from here. 2015, even he was winning there still. He beat Uriah Hall. He beat Derek Brunson. He beat Jacare. He beat Romero twice. One of them was kind of controversial, but he beat them twice. Obviously, he got the title there, and then he lost it to Adesanya. Unfortunately, came back, beat Darren Till, beat Jared Cannonier, beat Kelvin Gastelum. 3-fight win streak. Came back to fight for the title again. Lost, but this time it was by knockout. It was by a somewhat close unanimous decision. So obviously not too bad. And then of course he fought Marvin Vettori in Paris, and he's fighting Costa in February. This guy is definitely up there. It's not like the other guys who they just don't seem like they have much of a chance to fight next. Robert Whittaker is up there, top 2 guys that are next to fight for that title. And I mean, his record, it speaks for itself, honestly. I showed it to you guys already. It's very impressive what this guy has been able to accomplish. He's beaten so many top level guys. I mean, this guy is definitely, I mean, you guys know this. He's up there for sure to fight for that title next. But does he have more leverage than the number 1 contender, Israel Adesanya, the last style bender? 23-2, 15 wins by knockout. We'll look at his, I mean, this resume is just wild. It's crazy. We have to start from the very beginning of this guy's career. He beat Vettori, Tavares, Brunson, Silva, Gastelum, won the title against Whittaker, which is impressive as hell. He beat Romero. He knocked out Paulo Costa. He failed to get the double champ status, which is okay, because in middleweight he continued to dominate against the win against Vettori for the rematch, Whittaker for the rematch, Cannonier for the first time, and obviously just barely lost that title to Pereira just recently. I mean, if you had to compare Whittaker's and Adesanya's resumes and leverages, you know that realistically Adesanya is more deserving of that title shot. And damn, that Gino was crazy. But realistically, Adesanya's next in line again for Pereira. Izzy 4. This is the quadrilogy, another one after Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo. Their quadrilogy, their saga. This is like kind of like that. And I mean, yeah, kind of an obvious one, but a lot of people online on the internet seem to disagree with that Adesanya deserving the next title shot. But I made this video just to kind of prove, like, if we really thought about it, Adesanya should be getting that next title shot. Pereira was next in line, and now Izzy is next in line for that title. And whenever this fight happens, it's not really clear yet. Obviously, this fight happened like 5 days ago, so it's still unclear as to what's gonna happen next. I know Pereira's getting a UFC belt tattoo on his right arm because he has already, I think he has the glory belt on his left arm, so he's covering up that tattoo on his bicep. He's gonna get the UFC belt on the right arm, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's hard to disagree now. Even though middleweight, I mean, everybody knows this middleweight is in such a weird position right now. And it shows in this video just of how weird, how odd of a position middleweight is in, because no other division is in this position that middleweight's in right now, and I don't think any division in the UFC's history, like at any point, has been at this point realistically. Maybe when Anderson Silva had his reign, maybe when GSP had his reign, but I don't know. This is just such a unique spot for all these fighters and for the contenders for the fights and the belt. But as to who should be fighting for that title next, I think undeniably, even though there's a few doubts, and even though the division is such a weird place, just it's the only one that makes the most sense that Adesanya challenges for that belt and attempts to get revenge for a fourth time.